I really hope this isn't recording sideways because my velvet dress video last time recorded sideways and I genuinely feel bad about that. Look, I'm not dead! I mean, none of you asked if I was dead, but I mean, that's beside the point. What are we talking about today? Well, I have a bunch of real life updates, but that's gonna be on my professional channel, so, I mean, if you haven't found that, go find it. Now. Okay, so today we're actually going to be talking about an escapism concept that I've been wanting to talk about since like April, I guess, but I never really had, I don't think I had enough research built up, but now at the time of recording this video, I have about 3.5 months of research built up. Well, almost 3 months. Well, whatever. Today we're talking about escapism in relationships. How to manage a relationship with escapism. And yes, I did just lower my chair because I noticed you could only see the top half of my head. Okay. Escapism in relationships. Now that is a very, very, very touchy thing. When you're an escapist, of course you want to find someone in the real world to love. Unless you don't. In which case, this video probably won't interest you. The thing is about escapism, though, is that finding someone who will love and accept you for the escapism is very, very challenging, and over the years, I've come to know that. Now, I have been fortunate enough to find a partner who not only accepts my escapism, but also practices with me. Her YouTube channel name is Rochelle Knockout. I highly suggest you go check her out. I'm going to link her in the description below because she's an amazing person, and I love her, and you all should love her too. I demand you love her. Sorry. Getting back on track. The thing about escapism and romantic relationships is both of you have to want the relationship. Both of you have to really care about each other. You can't just be like oh hey, we're in a relationship now, and then you never have like any physical contact or speaking in OWOO or anything like that. There has to seem like there is a commitment there. Now, the big thing about escapism in relationships is disclosure and communication. That's why I've been wanting to do this video since like April, because I used to believe many years ago that you had to date someone for at least 6 months to a year before telling them about your escapism. Word of advice, that idea is extremely stupid. I do not suggest you try that. No. Instead, you need to be open and honest about who you are as a person in escapism. Not right when you start the relationship because you don't want to scare them off, but at least no later than a month into it. And the reason I say this, guys, is that when you're dating someone, you are, even if it's just a fun little thing, at least for me, when I would date someone, I would always look at the possibility of a future together with that person. There was always a chance that there might be a potential there. So, when I would look at relationships, I would always have to think, what do they need to know about me long term if we're going to get married and live together? Of course, you don't tell them you're thinking about these things because you will scare them off. Excuse me. Excuse me. Sorry. The thing is that relationships, I have discovered, and I know one of you is going to be very surprised to hear this, but I used to be such a fast mover when it came to relationships. I wanted everything to happen right then because I felt if it didn't happen, then you'd lose the spark of love that you had with that person. Again, that is a very stupid philosophy, because in all truth, relationships, if they're going to be a true relationship with a person that you love and who will last forever, sometimes time is extremely important, because time helps you grow together. It helps you see who you are together, and it helps you communicate about escapism. Now, I've talked about when to communicate the escapism. Now, how do you actually communicate the escapism? Okay? So, say it needs to be in a place where you both feel really safe and calm. I wouldn't suggest randomly bringing this up in a casual conversation in the mall. It needs to be either at a quiet dinner alone, or perhaps at your apartment, or his or her apartment, or however things work in your relationship. It just needs to be somewhere quiet where you feel safe. Don't act like it's a super serious conversation. Don't make a big deal about it. Just say, hey, so there's something you want to know. And that other person's going to be like, wait, what, are you a serial killer or something? And if they ask if you're a serial killer or something, then hearing that you're an escapist is going to be a big relief, let me tell you. Seriously, though, if they ask you what's going on, and if they genuinely seem seriously interested in hearing from you, you need to tell them straight up. You need to look at them in their eyes, or as much of your eyes as you can if you're visually impaired like me, and you need to tell them, listen, I think you ought to know I practice escapism. Now, if this person is like, oh, so like, you watch a shit ton of TV or play a shit ton of video games or something like that, then yeah, you know? If they say that, then you need to say, well, depending on the type of escapist you are. Type 1s, you don't need to worry about making a big deal of telling someone, because type 1s just watch TV shows and not a problem. Type 2s, they watch TV shows and take it as example and they become axe murderers and things like that. So type 2s probably aren't going to have a relationship. Type 3s, this is the type 3 response for you. The thing is that I give inanimate objects personality. I can't just see a towel that I drop on the floor and think, oh, I dropped that on the floor, I guess I'll just pick it up. Type 3s, we've mentioned this in a previous video, but you give everything a personality. And and I don't want to say that you talk for everything because that's more of a type 4 thing, but you're sentimental about everything. So you say, so I give everything a personality. I'm sentimental about a lot of things. There are certain things that will happen to inanimate objects that actually emotionally hurt me because I feel a very strong attachment to them. Now, you need to follow that up by saying, this doesn't mean I'm insane or anything. It's something I've always done. I'm not a hoarder. I don't think that every single McDonald's bag is worth sentimentality. But if there is a cute teddy bear in a store, I'm going to buy it because it looks like an animal and I want to have it. Now, or however your escapism tends to say so. Now, type 4s are a whole entirely different ballpark, so stay tuned, type 4s, because we're getting to you next. I promise. Let's get through the type 3s because they're not as big a deal as the type 4s. In fact, the type 4s may need their own video, but this person may look at you and go, so, like, you talk for things? Now, if you're a hardcore Rowan Roberts escapist watcher, you could go, no, that's a type 4 trait. But seeing as you may not be like that, you can just say, no, it's not like that. I don't talk for them. I don't do that. It's just, I keep things. I'm sentimental. Now, if the person you're in a relationship with is extremely understanding, they'll say, oh, that's so cute. If they're not very understanding, then there's still hope because they can either ask questions to educate themselves or they can run out the door. If they run out the door, you had a good long run with that person, you had a month in your relationship, but it was very clear that it didn't work out. And if that person couldn't accept you for who you are, then frag them. They're just a person. They're not worth anything. Honestly, that's honestly how I feel about life sometimes, is if people can't accept who you are as a person, then they aren't really worth anything. That's taken me far longer than it should have to realize that, and I realized that with the help of my sweet beloved girlfriend. Please go subscribe to her if you haven't. She's awesome. She needs you. Love her. Okay. Now for type 4s. Type 4s have been in your position. Let me just remind you again what a type 4 is. A type 4 escapist is someone who has experienced severe massive trauma in their life to the point where they are extremely lonely. This loneliness causes them to extremely associate themselves with one character, possibly as a romantic partner, possibly just as a friend, and it will cause them to have a projection device such as a Starscream body pillow or something, and it will cause them to communicate as that person through that projection device through a term called voicing, which is speaking as that person, and it feels as though they're actually in the room. Okay, now that we've recapped what a type 4 is, what does a type 4 say to a person that they're in a relationship with? Now, type 4s, you gotta understand, and I know this may be hard to believe, but this is where you decide what's more important, your escapism or your relationship. For so many years, I thought I would have to give up my escapism to be in a relationship with someone. But over the years, I evolved my mind to realize that if they don't accept the escapism, which is the biggest part about me, then they don't accept me, okay? It's kind of like if you were dating an African American person, but you're white, and they don't accept that you're white. You can't paint yourself brown, you know? It's not something you can control. And one thing that I have learned, and I know psychologists may tell you different, and to those psychologists I say, go educate yourself because you have no idea what you're doing. Escapism is a part of someone. It isn't someone that you can just let go of because you will feel cold, empty, nothingness. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, how to handle a relationship when you're a type 4 escapist. First of all, it is extremely important that your relationship partner knows that you still love them with all of your heart. That is extremely, extremely, extremely important. And this is, of course, if they don't already know about the escapism when you start the relationship, because Rochelle knew about my escapism long before we started our relationship. And, I mean, that's one of the biggest things that we bond over among a huge ton of other things. But it's one of the biggest things. So how to tell a person who doesn't already know about your escapism that you're in a relationship with, that you actually see a future with. If you don't see a future with this person, then it's not worth it. But if you actually want to see a future with them, then this is when you tell them. And you say to them, okay, so I think you should know I'm a practicing escapist. And then you say, okay, that's a very medical term. Let me break it down for you. It means that depending on how much they know about your past, you can either say, you already know I've been through a bunch of crap in my past, or you can say, you can say, I've been through a lot in my past, and because of it, it's warped my trust in people. So, before I met you, I have escapism, which is a world that I create within my own mind, and there are some times that I talk for the characters. Now, just to understand that escapism doesn't have to involve, I can't believe I haven't stressed this, and I need to, because it's very important. Escapism doesn't have to involve or revolve around a show or a book or a TV or a movie. It can be your own entire world with your own original OCs. Oh God, I sound like Christiana. I am sorry, guys, but it's honestly the truth, and I've got no other way to word it. So I'm sorry, but yeah, escapism doesn't just have to be revolving around a TV show or a movie or a book. It can revolve around anything. So depending on what your escapism is, I'm going to personally tailor this to myself if I was speaking to a person who I only knew for a month and dated for, or not only knew for a month. If you're going to date someone, you get to know them before you date them. That's like my biggest thing. That's a big rule for me now. I've learned a lot in my years of heartbreak, but I'm never going to get my heart broken again. I know that because I have Ro, but I'm getting off topic. Where was I? Oh, yes. So, I'm going to tailor this specifically to me as a type 4 escapist because this is my experience. So, say I'm talking to a person, I say, so I've been through a lot in my past, and I've had to create this world that I have. Where I live in Transformers Prime, basically. But it's sort of alternate universe of Transformers Prime because... Oh wait, don't throw the term alternate universe at them yet. Sorry. I'm getting a little off track. But the thing is that you tell them, look, I have this world that I go into sometimes when I'm feeling extremely lonely. And I escape. And I talk for the characters. And if you want to know more about it, I'll be happy to tell you. Now, here's how the person can either respond to this. Oh, that's weird. Or they can just go, okay. Or they can say, I'd like to educate myself. I'd please like to educate myself. And then they can ask you more questions. Now, they can do this in a positive or a negative way. So, they can either go, so, is it like you fuck a body pillow? I'm sorry, guys. That's the only way I can say it. I'm sorry. You know, I'm all about open, brutal honesty, so that's the only way I can say it. I mean, and if you are like me and you have a body pillow of your beloved character and you enjoy a good night with them, then if you feel comfortable enough with that person and you feel like that person is not going to judge you, then tell them about it. You know? Be open. Don't try closing yourself off. Don't give them just a little bit of information and then later give them more. Be forthcoming. Because when you reveal escapism to yourself, this is the moment that can make or break your relationship. And you've got to be, if you want to make it, then you got to make it. If you want to be with this person, then just tell them everything. That's my biggest thing, is just be open, be honest, and tell them everything. And if they are accepting of it at first, you still need to be careful. And I had to learn this the hard way. I am over this by now because I have Rochelle. But I think many of you may know of an experience that I went through that is going to segue into my next point. Signs that your relationship partner isn't actually okay with your escapism. It is the honest truth that now more than ever, people are bottling up their emotions to keep others happy. And I've been through that. First of all, you should never do it to anyone. If you feel that something is up, if you feel that you are upset about something, you need to tell someone. You need to tell the person you're upset with. Please, 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 please don't hide it. I beg you. But if you are a type 4 escapist who's in a relationship with someone and you've already told them about your escapism, then I'm going to give you some signs that this person is not the best for you. Sign number 1, when they get monotone when you talk about your escapism. Now me, I talked about my escapism quite a bit. I really did. And I noticed that with the person, I won't say any names, but you all know who this person is. But with the person who wasn't okay, whenever I'd bring it up, she'd get really monotone. And I'd ask her time and time again, are you okay? Are you okay? And she'd always say yes, yes, yes. And then literally a month later, I had to hear it from her best friend that she wasn't, because she didn't feel good enough. Let me tell you something right now. Anyone who is potentially wanting to date a type 4 escapist, you are good enough, okay? In our eyes, in the eyes of we type 4 escapists, you are an awesome person. It's why we chose to date you. Dating for type 4 escapists is so difficult because we are opening ourselves up to other people instead of our escape worlds, and that in itself is difficult. It's getting a lot better for me, but I know some type 4 escapists who have it a lot worse. So let me just make this clear right now. To anyone looking to date an escapist who is got their own world, just because they have a romantic partner in their escape world does not mean you are not good enough. I can't stress that enough. I cannot stress that enough. Okay? So, now we look at the signs if they aren't okay. If they get really monotone when you bring up the escapism, and if you talk about your escapist partner a lot, then you don't need to stop talking about your escapist partner around your partner. That's not good, because if you see a future with this person, if you see yourself living with this person, then yeah, you don't need to do that. Not at all. Sorry if you can hear that, guys. That's my cat outside my door. Be honest. Be honest. Be honest. Be open. That's fusion. Sorry. I had to make the Steven Universe reference. I had to. But in truth, you cannot be in a relationship with someone until they know every facet. Honestly. And if they don't seem okay with everything, then you need to sit them down. You need to gently tell them, listen, I can tell something is up. Please talk to me. Because I want us to resolve this now and not with an argument. Are you okay with my escapism? Don't present it to them as if you're going to break up with them because they're not okay with it. Have a conversation about it first. Don't immediately go for the breakup. If they're missing something in the field of education about escapism, then sit with them and educate them. Don't immediately go, oh, well, since you're not okay with the escapism, bye. No. I mean, if they adamantly seem like, well, you're weird. I don't want to date someone who doesn't put all their 100% attention on me. First of all, no one can give 100, unless you're married and living together, and even then, no one can give 100% of their attention to you in a romantic relationship. Everyone, despite the fact that a romantic relationship involves the two of you culminating together, people have lives of their own. Oh man, I am so the opposite of how I used to think 2 years ago. Man. I used to be like incredibly clingy. But anyway, I maybe I still am. I don't know. But here's the thing, okay? This world is full of people that aren't the most accepting, okay? So, just be gentle, kind, and if the person who's not accepting isn't really willing to back down and is all like, no, I don't think this is going to work, then hey, at least you knew before it ended in an argument. A relationship should never end in tears unless someone died. And if there's anything I've learned in my experience dating as an escapist, it's so weird for me to say I have dating experience, but I do. If there is anything that I have learned, is that you always have to be open and you always have to be honest. Because if you're not, then you really don't trust that person. This goes both ways. This goes for the escapist, and this goes for the person dating the escapist. You have to trust that person. You have to be able to say, yes, I'm okay with this. You have to understand that escapism is something extremely sensitive. And if you can't accept it, then it's a very sad day. And I don't want to bring anyone down, but just be honest, be gentle, be kind. And let me just furthermore say that I am so lucky that I found someone who's so much like me. So many people have said in the past that having too much in common is a bad thing. But I found my perfect little puzzle piece that fits so perfectly next to me. And I couldn't be any happier than what I am with her. I love her so much, and we're coming up on 3 months a week from, actually, no, 5 days from today. We're coming up on 3 months of our beautiful relationship. And I can't tell you all how happy I am that I finally found someone who I can honestly say I love with all of my little beating heart. I'm sorry I haven't done YouTube videos in a while. I've just been busy, honestly, with like a bunch of things. In fact, I've got a whole big schedule today involving YouTube that a lot of these things have to get done today. Involving YouTube and my own things. The last 3 days I've been focused on college, and today I just really want to focus on me. So that's the goal for today. I want to focus on me and living the best life I can. A lot of you, I'm sure, are curious what happened to the Megatron. That is no longer a thing. In fact, a lot has shifted in my escape world. Megatron is no longer a thing in my world, our world. I won't go into details about the new one because it's very complicated, but I will say that Megatron's expression will no longer continue to be used in my videos. Instead, I've come up with a new expression. Be gentle, be kind, be honest, and always be proud. Thank you all for watching, and have a wonderful day.